السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال: لما توفي عبد الله بن عبيد جاء ابنه عبد الله بن عبد الله إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فسأله أن يرضعه قميصه يكفنه فيه أباه، فأعطاه ثم سأله أن يصلي عليه، فقام رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ليصلي عليه، فقام عمر رضي الله تعالى عنه فأخذ بثوب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال: يا رسول الله، أتصلي عليه وقد نهاك الله أن تصلي عليه؟ فقال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: إنما خيرني الله، فقال: استغفر لهم أو لا تستغفر لهم، إن تستغفر لهم 70 مرة. قال: إنه منافق. فصلى عليه رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فأنزل الله: ولا تصلي على أحد منهم مات أبدا ولا تقم على قبره. وكما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام رواه Muslim. My dear respected brothers, elders, sisters in Islam, it's a little bit longer hadith for today, but this hadith is narrating an incident which took place. It's narrating an incident which took place in which the leader, Abdullah ibn Ubay, the leader of the Munafiqeen in Medina, has now passed away. And his son, who is a Muslim, not a Munafiq, but a bona fide Muslim, he's fighting in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he knows the situation, the status of his father, but he's a son. So he comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he asks for the shirt, the qameez, of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam to bury his father in. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam gives him his own shirt. Then he asks him, will you pray for him? His salat al-janazah. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stood up and grabs the thawb and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and says, Ya Rasulullah, are you going to do this when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already prohibited you? Nahadullah. Right? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he gives him the ayah. He gives him the ayah from Surah Al-Tawbah. And in Surah Al-Tawbah, beginning around ayah number 80, we have this whole situation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, استغفر لهم أو لا تستغفر لهم إن تستغفر لهم 70 مرة فلا يغفر الله لهم ذلك بأنهم كفروا بالله ورسوله والله لا يهدي القوم الفاسقين. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying very clearly about this asking for forgiveness for them. That even if you ask them for 70 times, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to forgive them. But لَنْ يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَهُمْ. Never, none. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. It's because they have ungratefully disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. وَاللَّهُ لَا يَهْدِي الْقَوْمَ الْفَاسِقِينَ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not guide and openly transgressing people. Fisq. So when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is answering this concern of Umar radiallahu anhu, how does he answer? He makes salah. And afterwards, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the 84th ayah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now sends the order. وَلَا تُصَلِّي عَلَى أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ مَاتَ أَبَدًا وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَى قَبْرِهِ إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَمَاتُوا وَهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ. And do not make salat upon any of them from amongst them that have died. Don't ever do it. What's the reason? The reason is, and you're not allowed to stand upon their grave, وَلَا تَقُمْ عَلَى قَبْرِهِ إِنَّهُمْ كَفَرُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. That they have ungratefully disbelieved in Allah and His Messenger. And whom وَمَاتُوا, they died in that situation, in that condition, وَهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ, in which they are openly transgressing against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are in the midst of a crisis here in this country. And I'm not talking about the normal crises that we're seeing on the news that we're experiencing on the day that's affecting our jobs and our finances and our health. No, this is a different crisis. The crisis actually that preceded and pre-existed the whole COVID-19 nonsense. Every week, I am here, alhamdulillah, back, and with that freshness of being back after being that had that little hiatus for health reasons. It kind of like, it was an overwhelming experience, to be honest with you. Not everybody is coming now with their issues and their problems and this thing going on and that thing going on, and I need advice, I need help, and this is what's going on, and that's happening in this family and that family, Allahu Akbar, subhanAllah. Every day something new. Every day something new. 7 days a week. We have young people now that are leaving the fold of Islam, and they're not even telling their parents. We have Muslims that are marrying Hindus. I'm not telling you a story. This is happening now. I'm dealing with this. I'm not telling you I heard from somebody that heard from somebody. No, I'm not telling you like a distant tale. Right, 7 layers removed, right? I'm telling you, this is the things that I am dealing with here. Parents are coming. Well, my child is saying that they don't want to pray, they don't want to be Muslim anymore. What can I do? Is there a special dua? Can I do a special dhikr? Like what? Like you've missed the opportunity. You were concerned about their dunya. You made sure they got an education, and guess what they did? You made sure that they went to college, and guess what they did? You made sure that when they got out, they got a good job, and they focused on their finances, and guess what they did? And now they're grown adults. And those things in which you and I emphasize as parents, they emphasize that also. And those things that we did not emphasize, neither did they. So we now have young people, brothers. We have young brothers who don't want to get married. They're like, what's the point? What's the purpose? I have been baligh since I was 13 years old. I have been dealing with this whole suppression of these natural desires and these natural urges now all the way. My parents, I was 30 years old and my parents were still telling me that I was too young. I was a child. I'm not ready to get married yet. There's certain things. I have to get a job. Like I have to have this much money. I have to do this. I have to do that. Okay. He's like, I have gone. I am 30 years old. I have been battling since I was 13. Over half of my life, I have been dealing with this physical frustration. And yes, this is what they're saying. I have committed zina. What do you think happens when they get away from their parents and they go to college? They enter into an environment in the university where everybody is doing these things. They're committing zina. Then they don't want to get married because they're saying, what is the purpose of it? Because you see, when you don't have the akhirah established as your perspective for your worldview, as a perspective for your life, if your priorities are not established based on the akhirah, this question is an excellent question. And I tell them that, you know what, you're right. If it was just about this dunya. If it was just about this dunya, I would tell you, you know, honestly, is there a point to marriage? But as Muslims, absolutely. If for no other reason than the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If no other reason. But this poor brothers are looking at a situation from what? Strictly through eyes, through a lens which is only associated with the life of this world. Because his whole life, he's been told, this is what's important. Put your effort here. Put your focus here. Put your energy here. And now, I want to say, well, I don't believe that you have to. It's not about what you believe. It's just as long as I'm a good person. This is actually the most common one. As long as I'm a good person, it shouldn't matter what I believe. As long as I'm fair to people and I'm kind to people and I'm just to people, it doesn't matter. But why this particular brother that's in my mind right now, he married a Christian sister. The one who married the Hindu, his parents don't even know that he married the Hindu sister. He actually went and talked to his parents about marrying an Hindu. And of course his parents are like, there's not, you can't do that. So he did it secretly. And family, good family, mashallah, by the way. And that's the point. There's two things here. Number one is how you and I are raising our children and the type of environment that we are raising our children in. How are we helping them to understand their worldview, they're establishing their cognitive framework, how they perceive the world around them and how they perceive themselves within that world. Establishing them and helping them to establish for themselves a perspective that includes the akhirah. That is our responsibility. But at the end of the day, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. Allah Ta'ala told Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, you don't get to guide whom you love. Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala also said about Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in Surah Al-Kahf, this what? فَلَعَلَّكَ بَاخِعٌ نَفْسَكَ عَلَىٰ آثَارِهِمْ إِنْ لَمْ يُؤْمِنُوا بِهَذَا الْحَدِيثِ أَسَفًا. It's as if like you're going to kill yourself, you're going to wear yourself out. Because these people will not believe. You have this sadness, this grief, this anguish that you're feeling because people won't believe. But the kufr and the fist, the shirk that's in their hearts, that is between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So even though we may do our best, it's still no guarantee. But this is the situation that we're dealing with. It's not just about like Umar radiallahu anhu, just for those who are wondering, Umar radiallahu anhu, he told Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he asked Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam about you're going to make dua, you're going to pray for him. Allah Ta'ala told you not to. He's referring back to Abu Talib radiallahu ta'ala. Excuse me, it's a natural thing, you even want to do it. Abu Talib. Right? But Abu Talib, his kufr was open. It was lawful. It was apparent. Well, munafiq, what is the issue with the munafiq? It is the deception. It is the outward appearance of a Muslim, where the inside, and this is a munafiq which is haqiqi, where inside the belief is absent. But the thing about it is what makes that worse. So if we are dealing with our young people that are losing their Islam, and truth be told, it's being taken away. You don't lose it. It's not like you drop it somewhere and I'm trying to like go back and find out where I dropped it at. It's being taken away. Right? That's a different thing. But now we also have our young people that are pretending to be Muslims. For what? Just to avoid the drama of dealing with their families. That's it. They have no other reason. There's no other reason. They don't give any other excuse whatsoever. And then on top of that, what do they say? Until I can get away from them. If you think this is not happening, you are. The teacher is now talking about they are specifically targeting Muslims in the educational system. They don't care that you say that you're Muslim as long as we can change the way that you identify yourself. Where's your heart? Where's your mind? What are your priorities in life? As long as they can change your worldview, as long as they can change your priorities, as long as they can get you to buy into the system, they don't care what label you put on your t-shirt. Any more than they care when somebody says they're Christian or Jew or Hindu or atheist or Buddhist or whatever the case may be. They don't care as long as you function as a cog within the system. Cookie cutter. Why do you think all of this now, and was it last year, the year before that, where it was made mandatory now. All this, the alphabet soup, L, D, G, T, X, Y, Z, all of that now. All of that now is being taught in the school system. Now, the question is that what are we doing about it as far as like helping our young people to be able to process it through the lens of Islam? But it's uncomfortable. We don't like talking about it. We live in a very secluded, insulated community. So we think that because we are insulated, the only way that we're really interacting with non-Muslims is either in the workplace or if we are buying and selling, we're engaging in commerce. Outside of that, the vast majority of us, especially if you're here for something Jumu'ah, means you care. The vast majority of us, we really don't have any other interactions outside of that with non-Muslims. But guess what? Our young people do. They're growing up with them. It's their friends. As far as culturally, this is the culture they associate with. This is what they know. This is what they've grown up with. This is what they understand. Regardless of what we tell them about what happened in whatever part of the world, mashallah, that their parents or grandparents may have come from. Regardless of what we tell them about the culture of Islam, on a casual basis. Meaning what? We are in dire need of a concerted effort. And that concerted effort begins where? Right here. In our Masjid. By doing what? Number one, we support the Masjid. With what? Our efforts, our time, our finances. We make sure that, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to be very honest with you right now. I am not enough to do this job here. I'm overwhelmed. We need in this masjid a bare minimum, probably 3 paid positions doing this. That money is not there. But I'm going to tell you right now, as far as like what's coming down the pipeline and what I'm dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and alhamdulillah, now, mashallah, we're going on almost 2 years now. So I'm telling you from experience, in this community, I need 2 more paid position people just to help to deal with what comes in on a day-to-day basis here. You have young people, you have, Allahu Akbar. It's a long list. And people think imams today are what? You're about to do the salat, teach the kids Quran, be there, do the salatul janazah, and mashallah, a dua program here and there, mashallah. And that is your standard cookie cutter template of a masjid. Will not work, has not worked. It was fine in the beginning. We are past that. And that's a beautiful thing. We are at a place now where we're beyond the idea, the notion of just build a masjid, stick an imam in there so that he can teach Quran, release the salat, and mashallah, handle any general basic problems that may come through the front doors. We have grown past that, and that's a good thing. But now that demand and that need that exists right now, we have to meet it. Regardless of COVID, regardless of the financial situation, regardless of political change, regardless of how we are feeling about ourselves and our emotions and depression, anxiety, blah, blah, blah. Help the deen of Allah will help us. No matter what. It's the promise of Allah. Allah never breaks his promise. We do. Our young people they're starving, they're confused, they're anxious. Some of them are shaking constantly. They can't stop. Just shaking. They're confused about their identities. They're confused about their sexual orientation. What the heck? And the fact that this is not being dealt with, and that now, like, even there, I guarantee you, there's somebody right here who's like, did he say the S word on the member? Did he use the S word? Guess what? That's nothing compared to what these young people are dealing with. And if you want to have this kind of like this Puritan mentality, and if I just ignore it, it'll go away. If I just close my eyes to it, if I'm like an ostrich and I just stick my head in the sand, everything will go away. It'll be all right. Time will deal with it. This is khilaf al-Islam. This goes against our Islam. It goes against our Aqidah. Since when does Amr bil Ma'ruf wa Nahy anil Munkar? Since when does that not apply to us also? And now because we have been neglectful, our own children are suffering. The very thing that has given us the title, the status of Khair Ummah, we have neglected it because we are preoccupied with our own personal obsessions that are associated with this dunya. And every time somebody brings us up, we point to somebody else to blame. Oh, if the masjid would just do this, then I would be able to do this. If the board would just do this, then I would be able to do that. If the imam would do this, then I would just be able to do that. If it wasn't for these people in the masjid, then I would be able to do this. If it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for this, subhanAllah, an endless stream of excuses. And none of them are valid. Are there issues with all the things? Absolutely. Is there an issue with me? Absolutely. Why? I'm a human being. It's part of the package. When I deal with the community, guess what? You're part of the package. Yes, you're going to have faults. You got shortcomings. You got issues. We all do. The thing is that we as Muslims, because of this kalima la ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, we are able to come together, overlook those issues, be forgiving to one another, compassionate for one another, be empathetic towards one another, be understanding towards one another, and work together. In spite of all of our differences, in spite of all of our shortcomings, in spite of whatever may be going on in the external world around us, we work together. And I'll end with this. MashaAllah, Wednesday we had the brothers came, MashaAllah, just sit casual sitting, MashaAllah. We were talking about, MashaAllah, these issues, like everybody has this notion, like a Sahaba become almost like these mythical individuals, right? These mythical human beings, almost not human anymore. I was telling him some of these when you're going through Dora, you're going through all these hadith of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam, you go through Hayat al-Sahaba, the lives of the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum ajma'in, you find these most amazing stories and you find out just how human they were. There are multiple incidents where Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu got into it. And where does it lead? Directly in front of Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam. There are incidents between the Muhajirin and the Ansar. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, at one point they were traveling, they stopped for Salat al-Asr, everybody gets down, they're setting up, they go to make wudu, in the line of wudu. One group now, the one group is in front of the other one, and somebody does what? Takes his foot and gives them a little push in the behind while they're standing in line. So now this becomes a thing. So now this group goes up and this group goes up and they're about to fight. Now this conflict is happening. Somebody takes off to the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ya Rasulullah, we have a situation, you have to come now. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam goes and chastises the whole lot of them. Do you want to return to Jahiliyyah after Allah Ta'ala has guided you? And then there's what? That's it, everybody, let's go. Pack up. Back on your camels, on your horses. We're out of here. We leave. And they all left. To do what? Go a very short distance and Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam stopped everybody again and they started all over again. The whole process. It's all awesome. We are humans. Don't look for the excuses. Come, be here with us. Unite with us. Make effort with us. Sacrifice with us. Because an individual or, subhanAllah, we don't need everybody. But it can't take an individual. Yes, and brother, there were so many individuals. 313 though on the battlefield. Did you know in Uhud, there was actually two situations. The first situation when they all went out, subhanAllah, when they came back in, the Quraysh actually had said, hold on, we almost defeated them. Why are we leaving? Let's go finish the job. They were actually turning back around to go and attack Medina. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has given the order, you have to go back out. But only the ones who went with you the first time can go out the second time. You know the people. If you didn't go the first time, you can't go the second time. Right? In that same surah, Surah Al-Tawbah, in between that ayah, 80 and 84, what is Allah talking about? Those individuals, you wanted dissent when the work needed to be done. Now, they came to Rasulullah and they took permission. We want to go with you now. Allah told them, tell them, you will never go with us. You made your decision. You wanted to sit. It's over for you now. Are we the ones who sit, or are we the ones who struggle? It doesn't take a large number. It doesn't have to be all of us. But the ones who stand with that humility in front of Allah, with that sincerity in front of Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does amazing things with this small group of people that Allah ta'ala brings out of a larger group. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from amongst that small group of people that Allah ta'ala takes effort from, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses for the khidmah of deen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect the hearts and minds of our young people. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve their iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide the answers to the questions and the doubts that they have in their hearts and their minds. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us as parents and community members the strength and the courage, the knowledge and the understanding to be able to handle these situations and to be able to help our young people, the Muslim community and the non-Muslim community as well. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us and use us as a means of hidayah for the whole of the humanity. اللهم اغفر لي وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات جزاكم الله خيرا جزاء.